Hello, world. Welcome to episode 194, the Jimmy Canz Show, classic supercard retrospective time. Let's take a look back at the WWF pay per view, WrestleMania 9. Let's talk about it. All right. WrestleMania 9 held April 4th, 1993, from Caesar's Palace, technically in Paradise, Nevada. Billed as Las Vegas, technically Paradise. 16,891 in a parking lot setup. Yeah, they converted the parking lot into a Coliseum-esque type of stadium, uh, and everything. It was temporary seating with facades over it to kind of look like the Roman Coliseum. This was broadcast live on pay-per-view, later released on VHS, courtesy of Coliseum Video. Action was called by a debuting Jim Ross, as well as the Macho Man Randy Savage and Bobby the Brain Heenan. Uh, Gorilla Monsoon was present. He was kind of serving, I guess, as the host, uh, first ever host of a WrestleMania. Technically, you really think about it, but that was kind of Gorilla's role here. And the other thing is kind of odd with this particular Mania. There's like really no celebrity involvement. Maybe that was part of the reason this one kind of fell flat. What we expect from Mania, we didn't really get. We had some pomp and circumstance with the elephants and Caesar impersonator and the Cleopatra impersonator and that type of thing, but no real celebrities in this one. So let's get into the matchups here. First contest was for the Intercontinental Championship. Good way to kick off the show. The undefeated Native American Tatanka challenging the Heartbreak Kid Shawn Michaels. Shawn was seconded by Luna Vachon. Tatanka countered this with a surprising reemergence of Sensational Sherry. Like I said, they're still playing into that tiff between Shawn and Sherry. Uh, this is we're pretty far removed from when this kind of happened. So like the fact that they kind of keep recycling this one is a little weird. But anyway, it was solid contest, two good competitors. Tatanka actually gets the win here, remaining undefeated, but he wins by DQ. So, no title change in this one, but Tatanka's undefeated streak remains while Shawn retains the title. Next up is a rematch from the Royal Rumble. The Steiner brothers are in action as Rick and Scott take on the Head Shrinkers, Fatu and Samu, with Afa in their corner. A lot of back and forth here. This one ends just like the Rumble did, with Frankensteiner for the 1, 2, 3. This contest didn't make a lot of sense to me from this aspect of Steiner's already had one victory here, and this is a second victory. You should have had another match in between there, maybe on a Raw, with the Head Shrinkers picking up a victory. So this one was the rubber match, and this carried a little more weight. As it stands, it just didn't make a lot of sense. There wasn't a lot riding on it. The outcome of the previous one wasn't any different. It ended the same way with the same move. So kind of weird. Next up, you got Crush versus Doink. The Clown. This one saw Crush with the advantage for most of the match due to his size and his power. There was a ref bump in it. And I don't understand why it didn't result in a DQ the way it was executed. And then we get the second doink from under the ring. He blasts Crush with a loaded prosthetic arm. The two doinks do the mirror spot in the middle of the ring. Uh, Ref game back around, comes in 1, 2, 3, and Doink is your winner. Not much to say about this one. I mean, the whole beef here was Crush was upset that Doink was making kids cry. That was the whole rationale behind this match. And like I said, this feud just didn't do anything for me, but we'll go on. Next up, the bad guy, Razor Ramon, facing former WWF champion and Bob Backlund. Um, Weird match, in my opinion. Very contrasting styles. Doesn't go long. It's under 4 minutes. Under 4 minute match in a WrestleMania. Just seemed like a Raw match to me. Razor, got the victory with a small package. on Backlund. Another kind of weird booking decision. Backlund, a technical wrestler. Razor, as good as Razor was in the ring and as, solid a worker as Scott Hall was, he wasn't known like as a technician. He had size, looks, charisma, all that kind of stuff. And being the bona fide legitimate heel, especially at this point in his career, I think it would have made more sense for the Razor character to win this one in a nefarious manner, holding the tights, holding the ropes for leverage, feet on the ropes for leverage, that type of thing. A Pierce ball package, wrestling maneuver, catching the more skilled technician in Backlund just didn't make sense to me. And, such a short match was kind of pointless. Next up, we have the WWF Tag Team titles on the line. As the champions, Money Inc., Million Dollar Man Ted DiBiase, and Erwin R. Shyster, IRS, taking on the Mega Maniacs, which was a returning to action Brutus the Barber Beefcake, as well as also a returning to action Hulk Hogan. They are managed by the Mouth of the South, Jimmy Hart, who is now a babyface. This is another match with a ref bump. This time, when the ref was down, the quote unquote babyface Hogan uses Beefcake's protective mask to knock out both members of Money Inc. There is no referee to make the count when this happens. Jimmy Hart then pulls off his airbrushed Megamaniac jacket to reveal and reverses it to show that it's got referee stripes on the other side, and he jumps in the ring and makes the 3 count and grabs the belt. So then Hogan and Beefcake are celebrating. Actual official comes down, states that the Mega Maniacs are DQ'd and that Money Inc. is your winners, courtesy of a disqualification. So no title change, and Hogan loses. Next up, the Narcissist, Lex Luger, and Mr. Perfect clash. Not the best match, honestly. Which is surprising, especially for someone as good as Perfect. Lex, underrated worker in a lot of respects. When he's in there, normally with somebody like a Luger, or a Flair back in the early days, somebody that can kind of call spots and kind of carry him through. Like he could put on solid matches. So it was kind of surprising that was the case here. But Luger does get the win in this one. Perfect got his foot on the rope during the pinfall attempt, but the official didn't see it and still counted the 3. So I guess this was done in a way to advance Luger's character and still kind of protect Perfect with that finish, but I wasn't a fan of that type of finish. Next up, the Phenom faces Giant Gonzalez. Taker is out there with Paul Bearer. Gonzalez is out there with Harvey Whippleman. Most memorable thing in this one is probably Taker's entrance. This is the first, honestly, this is really the first true WrestleMania entrance, in my opinion, with Taker coming out in the chariot with the vulture on it and all the smoke. It was different than what we normally saw, and more pomp and circumstance, more theatrics, et cetera, et cetera. Gonzalez, he was a nice person, but he was an awful wrestler. Nobody could ever get a good match out of him. The way this one ends is, again, we have another DQ finish here. Gonzalez is DQ'd for using a chloroform-soaked rag on the Undertaker, and the Taker is taken to the back. They think, the Undertaker's finished. Gonzalez finally got him, blah, 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 blah. Taker comes back out to chase off Gonzalez. The streak is now 3-0, courtesy of a DQ finish. Honestly, I think it would have made more sense for Taker to just win this one clean, but I digress, especially because they don't really do anything with Gonzalez after this. He's pretty much gone after this one. And then last but not least, on the card, we have the matchup for the WWF Championship. You've got champion Bret the Hitman Hart facing the Royal Rumble winner Yokozuna, who's out there with Mr. Fuji. Yoko's nerves were pretty evident in this one. As good as he was, as athletic as he was for his size and everything, you could definitely see the nerves in a lot of things in this matchup with him. Brett settled it down, carried through. The end in this one came as Brett had Yoko in the sharpshooter. Mr. Fuji then throws salt into Brett's eyes. Yoko is able to capitalize on the blinded Brett, and he ends up pinning him and winning the title. Now is where things go totally off the rails, if they haven't already. Hogan comes out, supposedly to help his friend Brett, who can't see clearly because of the salt in his eyes. While Hogan is out there tending to Brett, Fuji gets on the microphone, starts insulting Hogan, and challenges Hogan to face Yokozuna right then and there, and states that if he's willing to do so, that they will even put the title on the line. Brett tells Hogan to go for it, and you know we get an impromptu second title match of the evening, and then 22 seconds later, um, he is able to get the W in this one. So 22 seconds later, salt spot backfiring on Fuji and Yoko. The blinded Yoko then is booted and leg dropped by Hogan. 1, 2, 3. And Hogan is a 5-time WWF champion. Wow. This was not a good WrestleMania. Which is sad. I mean, you have a lot of Hall of Fame involvement in this show. 20 Hall of Famers. You had, Jimmy Hart, Hogan, Hitman, Sherry, Perfect, Alpha, Fuji, DiBiase, HBK, Yoko, Backlund, Paul Bearer, Razor, Rikishi, Beefcake, Luna, Taker, both Rick and Scott, Mike Rotunda. If we put the announce team in there with Savage Heenan and Ross, backstage interviews from Okerlund, Fink announcing, and Monsoon technically hosting. What is that, 26 Hall of Famers? Yeah. Crazy that, the show was as bad as it was, but, you had a DQ finish to start the show. You had a DQ finish in the tag match. You had a screwy finish in Perfect and Luger. Yeah, screwy finish in Crush. Uh, with the double doink spot. You had, uh, you know, a DQ finish in Taker's match. You had, um, the outside, foreign object thing to cost Brett, and then the backfiring foreign object type deal thing to allow Hogan. You had the weird, the small package by Razor out of nowhere. Like I said, this was just a bad WrestleMania. It was. I'm sorry. Um, this was not booked well. There was no real story and almost everything in this Mania. I mean, aside from the tag match, which there was the beef there with what Money Inc. had done to when Brutus tried to return. That led to that one. So there was some legitimate stuff there. Like I said, the Crush Doink stuff was just the fact that he didn't like the clown making kids cry. Uh, and then, Brett Yoko, there was really no beef there. It was Yoko had the opportunity because he won the Rumble. So there was no real, beef in that one. So it was just a really weird WrestleMania. Um, so, on a 10 belt scale, like I said, this is a bad show. I'm sorry, it is. And it's sad to say with all the different Hall of Fame involvement in it, but out of 10 belts, this is a 4. This is a bad show. And there's just no way around it. So our next classic retrospective that we'll talk about will be WCW Slamboree 93, Legends Reunion. Another one that'll have a lot of Hall of Famers in it, obviously, with the Legends Reunion going on. And then, the next thing we'll be coming at you with that's not a retrospective will be our Mania weekend predictions. We'll be doing our predictions for Stand to Deliver and WrestleMania 41, which is also in Nevada. I believe, again, it's billed as Las Vegas, but I'm pretty sure it's technically Paradise where Allegiant Stadium is. So we'll be coming at you with that one here in a couple of weeks. So, as always, give us a like, a share, subscribe wherever you are. Hope you're doing well. Take care of one another, and I will see you all when I see